father's one sick mother, you know that? Actually, your mother's one sick mother, too.
In the last 5 years, black horror movies that have social commentary have become more popular than ever. Films like Get Out, His House, and Candyman have dove into social issues like racism, refugees seeking asylum, and even gentrification. I actually love when horror movies do this. It creates a whole new layer as to what horror movies can be. Even though the movies I just listed are amazing, they were not the first to discuss serious issues. Some older examples include Tales from the Hood and the original Candyman. Another one that doesn't get mentioned too often is Wes Craven's horror comedy The People Under the Stairs. For those who may not know who Wes Craven is, some of his movies include The Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Vampire in Brooklyn, Scream. I can go on and on. But yeah, let's just say he's considered the master of horror. He's one of the best to ever do it, and usually most of his movies are remembered, but for some reason people forget about this gem. Even though this movie did well at the box office, after its release it wasn't talked about much anymore. I think this would be the perfect movie to talk about this Halloween because a while ago it was announced that Jordan Peele will be producing the remake. Also, before I start discussing this movie in depth, I want to give 2 warnings. There will be spoilers ahead, and this movie has a lot of gore, so you will see a lot of blood. To give a little backstory as to how this movie came about, Craven said this film was particularly inspired by a real case where 2 burglars in LA unintentionally led law enforcement to a home where 2 children were held captive by their parents. Released on November 1st, 1991, this film stars Brandon Adams, who you might know from The Mighty Ducks and The Sandlot. The fact that a young black boy was casted as the lead in a horror movie was something so rare even in today's standard. Adam plays a character named Fool who lives in a lower income neighborhood in Los Angeles. Even though his appearance was short, Ving Rhames appeared as Leroy, Fool's older sister's boyfriend. When the film first opens, it's clear that the apartment they live in is run down. Not only are he and his family about to be the last people in the building to be evicted, but the owners of the property put a clause in their lease stating that if they're late on rent, they will have to pay triple. This, of course, is intentional because the owners, who will come to know as man and woman, or mommy and daddy, are trying to push residents out so they can sell the land. To add to Fool's dilemma, his mom is also sick with cancer. She needs surgery but can't afford it.
I know where your landlord lives.
So not only are they discarding the residents that live in their complex, but they also profit off of these same people's addictions. This shows that these neighborhoods have limited resources to live a healthy lifestyle. Combine that with a lack of health care, poor black neighborhoods were set up to fail. Also, most people know the history of LA during the 80s and 90s, so all of these things I just mentioned, combined with gang violence and the crack cocaine epidemic that peaked between 1984 and 94, makes his family's options very limited. Leroy explains that man and women have rare coins hidden somewhere in their home. Telling Fool that it's time to be a man also adds to the pressure, and he finally caves in. He is not stealing because he wants to. He's doing it out of necessity. When they get to the couple's house, Spencer, Leroy's friend, dresses up like a municipal worker and their plan seems to work. This is also when viewers are able to get a good look at the sinister villains, man and woman, aka mommy and daddy. Even though for the rest of this movie I'm going to refer to these antagonists as man and woman, I want to backtrack and explain their nicknames of mommy and daddy. Craven named them this because he wanted to make a clear correlation to Ronald and Nancy Reagan. You see, Ronald often called Nancy mommy, which is a very odd choice to me. He wanted it to be clear that this couple was supposed to represent greed and cruelty. Man and woman were extremely wealthy. They were sitting on mountains of gold, and none of that was trickling down to the poor. This was a direct hit at Reaganomics, which was a system in place to give the rich a tax break. The direct result of Reaganomics was an increase in income inequality and also increased the poverty rate from 11.1% to 13%. Showing how Fool was living compared to man and woman highlighted exactly who the system benefited. Leroy realizes something is off when woman leaves Spencer in the house alone. Leroy and Fool both decides to go in and they split up. Fool finds Spencer dead in the basement, and this is when the movie has an interesting twist. There's people under the stairs. Roll credits. When man and woman come back, they realize that someone else is in the house and go on full lockdown. Doors, windows, and pretty much everything you can imagine locks. While man was looking for Leroy and Fool, the language he used to describe them and his actions show exactly how they view black people. Them using the term that rhymes with trigger multiple times, describing black people as filthy, and constantly using words like hunting, which shows that not only are they racist, but they view Leroy and Fool as animals to be slaughtered. All of these terms used about black people have a deep history that are a direct relation to slavery. We know that not only were black people hunted on the motherland, but also if a slave ran away. I can go on and on about this specific subject, but then this video would be too long. Within minutes, Leroy is found and unalived, leaving Fool trapped in the house to fend for himself. When he was just about to be caught, Alice, man and woman's only good daughter, helps him. She explains that those people under the stairs are the bad kids. She says she was never sent down there because she speaks no evil, hear no evil, and see no evil. This is when the theme of the movie was loud and clear. The rich think that if they don't listen, see, or say anything about their privilege and class difference, then the struggles of the lower class doesn't exist. Even though men and women have and will kill people, kidnap children, and have an incestuous relationship, they're the good guys because of their wealth. They look down on outsiders, and this is very apparent when woman is talking to the police.
It's as if we're the prisoners and the criminals roam free.
Her saying this is ironic because she and man are more evil than any petty criminal she's so afraid of. The middle of the movie focuses on Fool hiding in the walls along with a character named Roach. You see, man and woman first kidnap a little boy and Alice, but every single boy they kidnapped was, in their definition, a bad seed. They would then get rid of the little boy and keep him locked in a basement. That's how so many people ended up under the stairs. One character that consistently helped Fool was Roach. He was the only one able to escape the basement, and now he lives in the walls. The movie continues with a cat and mouse chase throughout the house. So I'm going to fast forward toward the last 30 minutes of the movie where Fool actually escapes. Alice is supposed to be right behind him, but she's scared, so he has no choice but to leave her. He's able to jump out of a window and into the pool. Luckily, before he escaped, Fool was given a few gold coins. He makes it back home and is able to pay the rent, and his mother is able to get the surgery. Fool's grandfather explains to him that man and woman aren't even a couple. They're actually siblings who pretended to be married to keep their wealth within the family. Come to find out, this family has been doing this for generations. Even though Fool was able to help his family, he feels bad for leaving Alice. He calls the police on man and woman, but of course, due to them being an affluent white family, the police walked away after a few minutes of questioning. Fool sneaks in and finds Alice. This time, Fool isn't alone in this fight. The whole neighborhood shows up on man and woman's doorstep. Not only are they there to help Fool, but also to confront their slumlords. This moment not only shows solidarity with the black working class, but also a real moment that actually happened in history. The house that was used for this movie is called the Thomas W. Phillips Residence. During the 1920s, this neighborhood became a safe haven for middle and upper class black people. Butterfly McQueen, who is most known for her role in Gone with the Wind, lived in that house for quite some time. In 1945, gentrification happened and white people wanted this neighborhood back. They attempted to push out black homeowners by demanding the enforcement of racially restrictive property ownership. Basically, they wanted to push a law that restricted black people from buying homes in that area. McQueen's next door neighbor was the Oscar winner Hattie McDaniel. She and other members of the community fought in court and eventually won. Just like in the movie, the black community got together to fight back. Even though I don't think this movie is anywhere near perfect, I think it should be way more popular than it is. Every part of this movie was given so much thought, from the house that was chosen to the names of the characters. I want to say thank you so much for watching my video. Please, everyone, please like, share, and subscribe. It would mean so much to me. I wish you all a safe and fun Halloween. Bye.
13 today, the golden-haired birthday boy is setting off on life's big adventure. I ain't no golden-haired nobody. Now I'm going off to a 7th grade. Well, you the fool and you can't escape that. That ain't bad. You know? Nah, ain't the stupid kind of fool. Only the ignorant kind, because he's just starting out. That's better, I guess. Ah, but look here. Already he's got a problem, see? One step in the front, the drop off. Well, what about the dog? That's Fool's companion. See a spirit barking? Fool, don't go marching over that cliff now. Do the smart thing, the high thing. So what fool gonna do if he ain't gonna go off the cliff? Fly? He gonna do what he had to, fool. Turn around, walk the other way.